So here we go. So if I were to be looking ahead to certain things, I would say that tomorrow there is going to be a formative in the Resource Center for you. If not just because of the fact that I want you to get into that habit. Okay? So tomorrow there will be a formative in the MRC. Stop in at some point in time during an off mod. Tomorrow's formative should not take you very long. Should take you a mod. Okay? Stop in a mod. It'll be on that side table by where the teacher sits. Okay? If you walk in kind of back towards the ACT stuff, there'll be a big folder. It'll be a big manila folder, and it will say blank Algebra 3 formative assessments. Take one, follow the directions. Okay? Then there will be another folder right next to it that says these are the ones that are done. So where to turn them in right away. So you don't have to really even hand it back to the teacher that's sitting at the table or anything like that. You can just put it right back in the turn in folder. Okay? So tomorrow, formative assessment. All right. Word problems. So today we're going to do a lot of word problems. Okay? And some word problems are going to be fairly short. Some word problems might be a little longer. Okay? But that's okay. Okay? Because no matter what kind of a word problem we're doing, the very first thing that we have to do is we have to read that problem. Right? Now you may be saying to yourself, well, duh, Liz, you would be shocked, I say, as to how many people try and just make up something off of the numbers that they see in a word problem without reading it and understanding, one, what they're looking for, and two, what they're given. That's why we read it first. Okay? Left to right, top to bottom, with words to form sentences. Okay? So we read it. Step 2 in word problem. We're going to actually reread the problem. Okay? But this time, we're going to make use of some kind of an equation. Now, that equation, we may have to generate ourselves if there's not a formula that we know of that we can use. Okay? So we might have to generate an equation, or later on in this class, we'll have to generate 2 or 3 equations based off of that word problem. Okay? Then we can solve it, and it's hard to check a word problem answer because you don't have the actual equation to check it back into. Because the equation that you solved is the equation that you came up with. Okay, so it's hard to check it back in the equation. So more importantly, we ask, does that answer make sense? And the classic example of that is, let's say we're talking about people. Okay? The number of people that are walking in the hallway. Okay? And let's say we get an answer of 72.4. Does that answer make sense for people walking in the hallway? Why not? You can't have 0.4 of a person, right? Okay? So that answer right away shouldn't make any sense. Okay? Later on in this class, we're going to have a problem that's something along the lines of 700 people go to an event. Okay? So there's 700 total people at this event. With me? I have gotten answers in the thousands of the different kinds of people at this event. Can 1,000 kids be at an event that only has 700 people at it? No. Again, doesn't make sense. Okay? Mistakes happen. I know that. Okay? But that's a key. That's a, whoa, tap the brakes. Okay? You know what I mean? Pump the brakes. this doesn't make sense. Let me go back and see if I made a mistake somewhere along the lines. Okay? So that's what I mean by making your answer doesn't make sense. Okay? We'll also be working with formulas in this particular section. Okay, so I asked that if it's a formula type problem, you write down the formula, replace the known values, and then solve it for whatever it is that you are solving it for. Okay, let's dive into it. Let's go. Okay, distance equals rate times time. I think you probably have heard that one somewhere along the lines, that D equals RT. Okay, the amount of distance I travel depends on how fast I'm traveling and for how long I'm traveling. Okay? The question here is, find the missing variable. Well, that missing variable just happens to be my old pal R. Okay? I have D, I have T, I don't have R. Okay? So I start with D equals R times T. That's the formula that I start with. That's the formula that I'm given. D is 300. I don't know what R is, so I'm going to leave that as R. And T is 4. I need to solve for R, so I've got 300 equals R times 4. If I divide both sides by 4, I get 75 here is equal to R. Correct? But now this is a word problem, just so you know. Any time that you're given just a regular old equation to solve, we just solve it for whatever variable it is that we're solving for. In a word problem, word problems have labels. Their answers have labels because there's actual things going on with labels in the problem. So my answer here would be 75 miles per hour, since that is the 2 units that we're dealing with in here, or mph, miles per hour, would be our answer on this one. Okay. Matt Kenseth, who was Mrs. Linsmeyer's favorite NASCAR driver because he was from Wisconsin, raced 600 miles at the Charlotte, North Carolina track in 3.5 hours. What was his average speed? So there I've just done step number 1, Fishes. I've read the problem. Okay? We have a distance, we have a time, we don't have a rate. Okay? Because that's his average speed. So again, I would say D equals R times T. Distance equals rate times time. The distance that he drove was how much? How far did he drive? 600 miles. Do we know how fast he drove? Nope, that's what we're looking for. Do we know how long it took him to drive 600 miles? 3.5 hours. So we can solve that one. Divide both sides by 3.5. Vicious, you're giving me a look. It's not nice, is it? No. Now, can I ask you a personal type question? Everything in this world, is it nice and pretty and unicorns and rainbows? No. No, it's not, okay? So, have you ever seen miles per hour, because that's what it's going to end up being here, is miles per hour. Have you ever seen miles per hour in fraction form? On your car, on the speedometer, is there fractions? No, there's not. Okay? So we can eliminate having to do it in fraction form here. Right? Because that's just not a common way of doing it. Okay? It's not using our brains. Okay? So then we would actually do it in what? What do you think? How many decimal places do you want to go? What do you think? Two or three? Okay? More the merrier, right? Okay, but we don't want to get too crazy and go like 9, right? All right, so let's go 2 decimal places. Okay, so what do you got for me?
171.43.
And then we would add the miles per hour on that, yes. Okay. Example number 3. You are hanging 3 pictures on a wall in your house. The wall is 16 feet wide. The widths of the 3 pictures are 2 feet, 3 feet, and 4 feet. You want the space between the pictures to be the same, and for the spaces to the left and the right of the group of pictures to each be 6 inches more than the space between the adjacent pictures. How would you position those pictures? Yeah. All right. So now sometimes it might help to draw a sketch of the situation. So I've made myself a little picture here of that particular situation. So the first thing that it told us is that it told us that the distance across the wall was 16 feet. Right? Then it told us that the 3 pictures were each 3 feet, 4 feet, and 2 feet. So how much of wall space has already been taken up? How much? 9 feet. Yep. Okay. So I only got 7 feet to go. Okay. Then it said that they want the space between the pictures to be the same. And lastly, it said that it wanted the space outside to be 6 inches more than the space between the pictures. Now, my question is, why did I put x plus 1/2 and not x plus 6 there? 6 inches is half of a foot. If I put x plus 6 in there, I'm going to get way off. Alright? So now my question to you is this. Is there some formula that we could use? Is there a distance equals rate times time formula or some other kind of formula? hearing the lack of overall enthusiasm for that. Is there some other way that we could come up with a formula? Or, excuse me, I shouldn't say formula. Is there some other way that we could come up with an equation based off of what we see in front of us? What do you got?
Because there are only 7 feet left, would you just take away one of it because it's automatically like 1/2 on each side, so it would only be 6, and then 6 equals 4x.
Okay. Because you're saying the space that got taken up, right, by the pictures. So we have 16 total feet of space. And you take away the 4 feet for the one picture, the 3 feet for the other picture, and the 2 feet for the other picture. That leaves me total with 7 feet left over. And then the 6 inches on the right side and the 6 inches on the left side, take that away. That leaves me with 6 feet of space. And I got to fill that with 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. So 4x equals 6. Yeah? Love it? So then you got x equals 3/2 or 1.5 feet. Okay? Any other way to do it? What you got? That's how you did it? Okay. The only other way that I can really think of to do it would be to say, well, x plus 1/2 plus 3 plus x plus 4 plus x plus 2 plus x plus 1/2. Where did I come up with all of those? I went left to right from one side of the wall to the other, right? And how much has that got to be? 16. And then if I combine my like terms, I get 4x plus 10 equals 16. And we get the exact same spot. Yeah. So that is telling us, now the question was, way back up here, the actual question was, how should you position the pictures? So how far in would you go to place the first picture? So that distance right there.
And so would you take that 3 over to like 1.5 and plug it back in for x?
Because that's the x that you found, yep. So what is 1.5 plus 0.5? 2, okay? So I would say that the pictures, so that there would be 2 feet between the wall and pictures. So 2 feet in on left side and right side. And I would also say 1.5 feet between pictures. Is how I would space out that wall. Okay. Again, the more information you can give, the better you're going to be. Okay. The more that you give, the better that you are going to be. Okay. Homework this evening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 questions. Whew. Due on Wednesday. Again, I remind you that there is a formative assessment tomorrow in the Resource Center. Okay? Stop on in and GID. Get it done.